about halfway through the year, and there's been plenty of horror offerings to cut your teeth on before the big Halloween season. So we decided to compile a list of what we thought were the best offerings so far. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 great horror films of 2024 so far. Number 1, Stop Motion. Directed by Robert Morgan in this feature-length film that was just released on February 23rd, we have a live-action, adult animated psychological thriller that is just awesome. It does actually have some stop-motion animation in it, which really helps the storyline. The plot is very simple, with Ella being our main protagonist, and she just recently took over her mother's latest project. Well, Ella meets a young girl, and Ella tells her what she's been working on. But the little girl has a better story for her. The girl starts telling Ella about a girl being afraid in the woods and is trapped by the Ash Man. So, Ella starts creating the storyline. She ends up getting a writer's block, so to speak, and asks for some hallucinogenic drugs. And while Ella thinks she's having a bad reaction, she soon realizes she never took those drugs, and eventually ends up in the hospital. The ending has you almost wanting more, and no, I won't tell you. So make your way over to Google Play, Fandango, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime to check it out. Number 2, Imaginary. Directed and produced by Jeff Wadlow, we have a new kind of supernatural horror. Receiving many positive reviews from audiences and critics alike, it's well deserved. It's about Jessica, who returns to her childhood home with her husband and his 2 girls, Taylor and Alice. While they're unpacking and setting up the house, Alice, the younger girl, finds a teddy bear sitting alone in the basement and quickly befriends him. We learn his name is Chauncey, and he seems friendly enough at first. But when the husband leaves, a whole new can of worms opens up. Chauncey sends Alice on a scavenger hunt, and some of these things are quite brutal. Well, Jessica gets Alice seen by a psychologist, and we learn some harrowing truths behind the entity that is Chauncey. I can't spoil much of this, but I was honestly terrified at certain times, and would give anything to have that first experience back. So make sure to find out all you can about this film over on Fandango, Google Play, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime. Number 3, Lisa Frankenstein. Diablo Cody wrote this and said this film takes place in the same universe as Jennifer's Body, which is a cool idea. It's hard to go wrong with her as the writer, and honestly, I haven't seen a bad film from her. And this one, sure, it may have received mixed reviews. It's still a great watch, especially considering it's also a Valentine's Day kind of story that was released on February 9th. So, let's dig in. In 1989, Lisa is healing from her mother being murdered 2 years prior, and her dad remarrying a narcissistic bitch. Lisa spends a lot of time reading to her crush at the cemetery. And yeah, it's that weird. Well, during some freak incidences, Lisa gains a little extra energy, and the guy she reads to gets struck by some green lightning, which causes him to come back as a love-struck zombie. Shortly after, they find that electricity can help attach other body parts to the zombie. Sure, they have to kill a few people, and it's really kind of weird in some ways. It was a great watch, and it deserves more credit than it initially got. So check it out on Peacock, Fandango, Google Play, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime. And let me know what you think. Number 4, Immaculate. Sydney Sweeney is fantastic in this psychological religious horror. And I will tell you, the evil in this film is by far more human than demon. So, Sister Cecilia almost died at a young age from falling into a frozen lake. She claims that God saved her and she's just trying to figure out why. That's when one of the priests come up to her and talk to her about going to a different convent, where she would help take care of the elder nuns who are sick and dying. She agrees, and soon after arriving, she finds herself pregnant, even though she has never had sex. So, Immaculate Conception starts to take hold at the new convent. But is it really that? Or is it something else going on? Honestly, I feel it's more sinister than anything. But really talks about science versus religion. Sure, some of the themes can border on insane, but there's a lot of the woman's right to choose. Get ready for some scares and some high tension, great acting, and overall, one of my favorites so far this year. So check it out on Apple TV, Google Play, and Amazon Prime.
Hey folks, sorry to interrupt, but we just launched our very own merch store at fatninja.shop. We sell everything from t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more, so we would greatly appreciate it if you checked it out. All the proceeds go to our future projects, so it helps us make any kind of movies and short films that we want to make in the future. So if you got time, check out fatninja.shop. Thanks again, and back to the video.
Number 5, Out of Darkness. Set in the Paleolithic era with an artificial language called Tola by Daniel Anderson, this film from Andrew Cumming makes the fear more primal than anything. We follow 6 humans who just came to a new land in search of a better life. Well, one night, the youngest boy is abducted by the demon, and now they have to find him and bring him back to the group. But as the night falls, something comes out, especially when they're in the forest. One by one, the group starts dying, and they even eat the leader after he succumbs to some injuries. This film is all about survival in the bare essential times, when things are more unknown than they are now. And critics seem to have loved this film, and I have to agree with them. The intention and anxiety you feel for most of this film is so right, and the score is absolutely amazing with the tone easily set up for that scene. So do yourself a favor and check this out on Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and Google Play. Number 6, Late Night with the Devil. A supernatural thriller that was written, directed, and edited by Colin and Cameron Cairns. This film is not for the faint of heart. The style is more of lost footage and documentary, and it really helps make the film what it is. There was a lot of anticipation for the release, especially considering the initial screening was last year. So let's dive into this story. We follow the Night Owl's host, Jack, who wanted major success and wasn't afraid to do anything to get it. After some time, his wife dies from cancer, we are told, and he takes a bit of a hiatus. Upon returning, he decides to do an occult-like episode. It is Halloween after all. So he invites a skeptic, a paranormal investigator, and her latest patient, and a few other people. I will tell you, it is eerie how well Lily, the patient, is played. Even the demonic side of her is just brilliant. I won't spoil much, but this is a definite must-watch. So do yourself a favor and head over to AMC Plus, Sling TV, Roku, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Google Play, and Fandango. But make sure to keep the lights on. Number 7, Double Blind. Take the medical field as well as Big Pharma and let them run amok. Well, I'm not going to go into the political side of this, but there are times where I do feel it's an attack on our healthcare system. which is fine. But this story goes on to follow 6 people who arrive at a pharmaceutical test lab, and they're there for what they believe to be a drug trial. The first day is what you'd expect, people hanging out and getting to know each other. And then around dinner time, it's also pill time. That first night though, none of them can sleep, almost as if they're in a manic episode, and when the next day comes, they're all told to stay awake for as long as they can. I don't know if you've ever gone a couple days without no sleep, but it can be deadly. And that's what starts to happen. It is completely brutal. You're really going to want to swing over to Fandango, Apple TV, Google Play, and Amazon Prime to check it out. But remember, always read the fine print. Number 8, Humane. Directed by David Cronenberg's daughter Caitlin, I can honestly say this is a great film. Starring Peter Gallagher and Emily Hampshire, this dystopian society comes to life, touching on themes of the climate crisis and the family dynamic. It can be a heavy hitter to some, but we can't forget the horror that lies beneath, with a touch of comedy and some pretty gnarly kills. The story goes that the world is facing the extinction of humans, and in order to survive, the rest of the population must volunteer 2 members of the family to die. Well, the family we follow had their 2 people, but one leaves, making it so that another member must volunteer. But who? None of them really want to die yet, so it's a fight for survival. Who will win? Take some time and check this one out on Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, and Amazon Prime. You're gonna love it. Number 9, Midnight Peep Show. Typically, anthology horror doesn't do that well in my opinion. But this one, with its uniqueness and commentaries to the electrical and digital world, make this film hit the mark. With 4 directors, this was truly a smart choice, as we have 3 different stories, each one adding just enough macabre that it borders on gruesome. For one story, we follow a businessman as he goes further down a rabbit hole, rightfully called the Black Rabbit, that leads him to disappearances and death. Another story has us kind of in Jigsaw's universe with these people that have to go through some unnerving trials for the possibility of escaping. I can't spoil much, because if I do, I give away the whole film. And I want you to be just as surprised as I was with this film. So take a peek at this one over on Google Play, Fandango, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV. Number 10, Founders Day. Holiday slasher flicks have been around forever, and they're kind of making a comeback, but it's never really been done for Founders Day before. And honestly, the killer is ideal for this one. Donning a wig from the 1800s, a red mask, and a gavel, be prepared for some gory kills. The story goes that it's election time in a small town, and the 2 opponents are just arrogant and unsuitable to be mayor. But we follow a bunch of teens as they deal with friends unexpectedly killed in horrible and a gruesome fashion. Everybody is at risk, and nobody knows why this killer has come about. It leaves you wanting to know what caused this killer to start this horrific slasher fest, but also brings back that fear factor we originally had from the first installment of Scream. I recommend judging this one for yourself over on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or Google Play. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again, and take care.